In the vast silence of time, there are moments when humanity seemed to rise beyond its own limits, moments when knowledge, creativity, and mystery blended together. These are the stories of civilizations that once stood proud, then faded into whispers of sand, stone, and myth. 1. The Antikythera mechanism. In 1901, divers off the coast of a small Greek island discovered something that shouldn't have existed. Among ancient amphorae and corroded bronze statues lay a strange device, gears, dials, and inscriptions fused by centuries under the sea. When studied, it revealed an astonishing truth. The Greeks had built a mechanical computer more than 2,000 years ago. The Antikythera mechanism could predict eclipses, track planetary motion, and calculate the cycles of the moon. Its gears, crafted with mathematical precision, represented a lost era of scientific sophistication. How such knowledge disappeared remains one of history's quiet tragedies, a reminder that brilliance, once forgotten, must be rediscovered. 2. The Map of Piri Reis. In 1513, the Ottoman Admiral Piri Reis created a world map so advanced that modern scholars still puzzle over it. Drawn on gazelle skin, it depicted coastlines of Africa, South America, and, curiously, the ice-free outline of Antarctica, centuries before its official discovery. How could a man of the 16th century know what lay beneath the polar ice? Some say it was ancient charts, preserved from a lost seafaring civilization. Others believe it was the result of accumulated wisdom, passed through unknown hands. Whatever the truth, the Piri Reis map stands as evidence that the oceans once carried secrets far older than empires. 3. The Pyramids of Egypt. Rising from the Golden Sands, the pyramids of Giza have watched over humanity for nearly 5,000 years. Their alignment with the stars, their perfect geometry, and the sheer weight of their stones defy simple explanation. Were they monuments to kings or messages to eternity? Each block, placed with uncanny precision, whispers of a civilization that mastered engineering, astronomy, and symbolism. The shafts of the Great Pyramid align with Orion's belt and the North Star, as if the builders sought to bridge earth and heaven. The more we learn, the more we realize. The ancients built not only with stone, but with purpose. 4. Atlantis, the Lost Continent. Plato spoke of a mighty island civilization that flourished 9,000 years before his time, a land of temples, ships, and unmatched knowledge. Atlantis, he said, was lost in a single day and night of misfortune. For centuries, explorers and dreamers have searched the seas for its remains, from the Mediterranean to the Caribbean, from Antarctica to the depths of the Atlantic. Perhaps Atlantis was never meant to be found. Perhaps it was a story, a warning of hubris and forgotten wisdom. But in every legend lies a fragment of truth, that civilizations can fall not from weakness, but from the weight of their own greatness. 5. The Vimana Chronicles of Ancient India. In the Sanskrit texts of ancient India, there are tales of flying chariots, Vimanas, that soared across the sky. They were said to move with the sound of thunder, guided by knowledge of the elements. To some, they are myths of gods and heroes. To others, they are memories of forgotten technology. The Vedas describe the science of propulsion, metallurgy, and energy in ways that echo modern aerospace theories. Whether divine or human, the Vimanas represent humanity's oldest dream, to transcend the earth, to rise into the unknown. 6. Stonehenge and the Builders of the Sky. On the windswept plains of England stands a circle of stones, massive and mysterious. Stonehenge has puzzled generations. Why was it built? The stones align with solstices and eclipses, marking the rhythm of the heavens. Some believe it was an observatory, others a temple of rebirth. Each stone weighs as much as a truck, yet was transported from quarries miles away. The builders understood the cycles of the sun, the tilt of the earth, the breath of time itself, and as dawn breaks over the ancient circle, the stones still whisper the same truth. They were never just monuments, but instruments of cosmic memory. 11. The ancient wisdom of China. In the valleys of the Yellow River, civilization grew like a whisper, quiet, precise, and enduring. Here, invention was not born from chaos, but from harmony. The Chinese created paper, the compass, gunpowder, and printing centuries before these discoveries reached the West. Yet their greatest creation was perhaps not material. It was balance. In philosophy, they spoke of Tao, the natural way of the universe, of Qi, the life force that flows through all things. In medicine, they learned to listen to the body as though it were part of the earth itself. The Great Wall stands as a testament to their endurance, but their true wall was built in the mind, guarding wisdom from the corruption of haste. 8. Greece, the birthplace of reason. The ancient Greeks sought not only to live, but to understand. They asked questions the world still struggles to answer. What is justice? What is beauty? What is truth? In the marble halls of Athens, philosophy became the architecture of thought. Socrates questioned the comfort of ignorance. Plato built his republic in the realm of ideas, and Aristotle gave logic to the chaos of existence. Meanwhile, in the theaters of Dionysus, tragedy mirrored the human soul. In mathematics, geometry turned art into language. To the Greeks, the search for wisdom was sacred. They believed that to know oneself was to touch the divine. 9. Rome, the empire of law and stone. If Greece gave the world the mind, Rome gave it the structure. From the roar of the Colosseum to the silent march of aqueducts across the hills, Rome turned order into empire. Its engineers shaped rivers, built roads that stretched like veins across continents, and created monuments that defied time. Roman law, clear, systematic, and universal, became the foundation of justice for centuries to come. Yet, even Rome, mighty and disciplined, fell not by the sword alone, but by the slow decay of its ideals. The empire that once connected the world left behind a legacy carved in marble and memory. 10. The first navigators and the ocean of stars. Long before compasses or maps, humans followed the stars. Ancient sailors looked to Orion, to the North Star, and to the moonlit horizon to find their way. From the Pacific Islands, Polynesian voyagers crossed thousands of miles guided only by wind, wave, and instinct. They read the ocean like a living map, feeling its rhythm, understanding its language. These early explorers proved that navigation was not just a science, but a communion with nature. Their courage laid the invisible paths that later empires would follow. 11. Alchemy, the bridge between magic and science. In dimly lit chambers, scholars once sought the philosopher's stone, the key to immortality, to perfection, to the transformation of all things. Alchemy was born from the marriage of observation and wonder. Through fire and metal, they searched not for gold, but for understanding. They discovered acids, distillation, purification, and the hidden nature of matter itself. Alchemy taught that every transformation, be it of lead into gold or ignorance into knowledge, begins within the self. And though modern science has replaced its symbols, the spirit of alchemy remains. The belief that the universe is not static, but alive with potential. 12. The Library of Alexandria, light lost to flame. Once, in the heart of Egypt, there stood a sanctuary of knowledge that sought to gather all the wisdom of the known world. The Library of Alexandria was home to hundreds of thousands of scrolls, mathematics, astronomy, philosophy, poetry. Here, minds like Eratosthenes measured the earth, and Heron invented early machines of steam and pressure. But progress invites peril. Wars came. Fires raged. And the greatest library on earth burned. Its scrolls turned to ash. Its wisdom scattered to the winds. Humanity lost not just information, but memory itself. The silence that followed was deeper than any night. The desert whispers. Under the endless dunes of the Sahara lies something that was never meant to be forgotten. Ancient legends speak of a time when the desert was not a desert at all, but a vast and fertile plain, crossed by rivers, forests, and lakes. Satellite images, modern radar scans, and mysterious geometric patterns hidden beneath the sands suggest that the Sahara may be concealing the ruins of an unknown civilization, one older than Egypt itself. Some call it the Eye of the Sahara, or the Richa structure, a massive, perfectly circular formation visible from space. For centuries, it was thought to be a natural creation, but its concentric rings resemble something more deliberate, something engineered. Could this be the final resting place of Atlantis, as Plato once described? A land with concentric rings of water and land? No one can say for certain. But every grain of sand whispers of a story yet untold. The builders of stone. Across North Africa, scattered stones rise like broken teeth from the earth. In Algeria's Tassili Najer, cave paintings show beings with elongated heads, strange suits, and eyes that seem to stare across time. These ancient artworks, dating back nearly 10,000 years, depict rituals, celestial alignments, and what some claim are encounters with beings not of this world. Yet archaeologists remain cautious. They speak of shamanic visions, of early attempts to represent gods or ancestors. But what if those gods were visitors, not divine, but technological? Could these prehistoric artists have witnessed something that defied understanding and recorded it in the only way they knew? Echoes from Abydos. Deep in the sands of Egypt, within the Temple of Seti Y at Abydos, lies one of archaeology's most debated carvings, the Abydos relief. It seems to show objects that resemble modern aircraft, a helicopter, a submarine, even what looks like a jet. Of course, scholars explain it as a case of palimpsest, where overlapping hieroglyphs accidentally formed new shapes. But still, the resemblance is uncanny. Nearby, in the Osirian, an ancient structure beneath the temple, massive granite blocks, each weighing hundreds of tons, are set in perfect alignment. No inscriptions, no records of its construction. It simply exists, as if it were already ancient when the pharaohs found it. Who built it? And why was it buried, hidden, preserved beneath millennia of silence? The forgotten engineers. In cultures across the globe, from Egypt to Peru, from Turkey to the Pacific, we find the same enigma. Monoliths too heavy to move, stones cut with laser-like precision, joints so tight that not even a blade can pass through. Mainstream history tells us these were built with copper tools and ropes, but those who have tried to replicate them know it's almost impossible. At Puma Punku in Bolivia, megaliths interlock like pieces of an industrial puzzle. At Baalbek in Lebanon, a single stone block weighs over 1,000 tons, larger than anything moved by modern cranes. If primitive technology could not have built them, then who did, and where did that knowledge go? The Lost Map Makers. In 1513, an Ottoman admiral named Piri Reis drew a map of the world. It was not just a map of known lands. It included Antarctica, centuries before its official discovery. Even more puzzling, it showed the continent without ice, with detailed coastlines that could only be seen by aerial or satellite perspective. Piri Reis claimed he had compiled it from ancient sources that traced back to civilizations long vanished. He didn't know their names, but he knew they had seen the Earth from above. The forgotten frequency. Some researchers propose that the ancients did not just build, they resonated. That sound, frequency, and vibration were at the heart of their technology. Egyptian temples, Incan walls, and even the stones of Stonehenge share acoustic properties that amplify certain tones and cancel others. It is as if the structures themselves were designed to sing, to hum with the Earth's natural frequencies. Could this have been a forgotten form of power? A language between matter and energy? The hill that changed history. Long before Egypt, long before Mesopotamia, a hill in modern-day Turkey began whispering secrets to the world. Its name is Göbekli Tepe, the Potbelly Hill. Discovered in the 1990s, it shattered everything we thought we knew about civilization. For here, in 10,000 BCE, humans who were supposed to be simple hunter-gatherers built a temple complex with towering T-shaped pillars, each carved with intricate reliefs of lions, snakes, vultures, and abstract symbols. It was architecture without cities, engineering without agriculture. How did they lift stones weighing up to 20 tons, with no wheels, no metal tools, no draft animals? Even more puzzling, after centuries of use, they deliberately buried it, as if to hide their knowledge from a future that would not understand. Some say Göbekli Tepe was a school, a cosmic observatory, where humanity first looked to the stars and began to measure time itself. Others say it was a message left by survivors of an even older world, a civilization erased by the floods at the end of the Ice Age, the Watchers of the Sky. Fair to the south, in the plains of Sumer, a new kind of knowledge took root. The first written language, the first laws, the first cities, Uruk, Eridu. And along their temple walls, the people carved stories of beings who came from the heavens, called the Anunnaki, those who came down from the sky. The Sumerians said these beings brought knowledge, mathematics, astronomy, architecture. They taught humanity how to build and how to rule. Their tablets spoke of a time before the flood, when gods and men lived side by side. Skeptics call it mythology. But ancient texts, written on clay thousands of years ago, describe planetary alignments, orbits, and celestial bodies that science only confirmed in the last few centuries. How did a people, supposedly primitive, know so much about the cosmos? The Tower and the Code. As Sumer faded, Babylon rose. It was there, under the reign of Hammurabi, that humanity first carved justice into stone. But long before the laws, Babylon had its legend, the Tower, a great structure meant to reach the heavens, to unite humanity under one tongue. It was said to have fallen not by fire nor by flood, but by confusion, by the shattering of understanding. And yet the story hides a deeper truth, that every time humanity comes close to rediscovering its ancient power, something, or someone, intervenes. Knowledge is scattered, language is divided, and we begin again. The Silent Stars of Sumer. In 4000 BCE, the Sumerians mapped the skies with astonishing precision. They tracked Venus, Mars, and Jupiter and predicted eclipses centuries in advance. Their ziggurats were not just temples, they were observatories. Each tier aligned with a star, a solstice, or a constellation. The priests were not merely religious men, they were scientists cloaked in ritual. To them, the heavens were not symbols. They were teachers. Every god corresponded to a celestial body, every myth a cosmic cycle. It was through them that the calendar, mathematics, and geometry emerged, not as tools of agriculture, but as reflections of divine order. Whispers from the flood. Then came the water. Around 9600 BCE, global temperatures rose dramatically. Ice melted, seas surged. Myths across every culture speak of a great deluge. The Sumerian Ziusudra, the biblical Noah, the Hindu Manu, the Aztec Coxcox. Different names, same story. A civilization washed away, and the few survivors carrying fragments of forbidden knowledge to the mountains and plains of the world. Göbekli Tepe, the Sumerians, even the Egyptians, all might trace their roots to those who remembered. The Code of Memory. What we call history may be nothing more than a cycle of remembering and forgetting. Each time humanity rises, it rediscovers part of what was lost. Fire, writing, architecture, energy, and each time That knowledge is buried again beneath sand, stone, or flood. If you listen carefully, you can almost hear it, the pulse of an ancient rhythm that beats beneath all our cities, all our faiths, all our science. A code not written in books, but in vibration, the hum of creation itself. The stone that remembers. The sands of Egypt hold more than dust. They hold memory. Every grain, every hieroglyph, every limestone block seems to hum with a quiet intelligence. To the ancient Egyptians, the world was not made of matter alone, but of Ka, the vital essence that bound all things. Stone, sound, and spirit were one, and their monuments were not built for the dead, but for eternity. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as their masterpiece. Aligned to true north with microscopic precision, its proportions encode the dimensions of the Earth, the Moon, and the Sun. Even its height, multiplied by a specific constant, reveals the speed of light. A coincidence so perfect it challenges reason. Was this a tomb? Or was it a machine? A resonant structure meant to channel the energy of the planet itself. The language of the afterlife. In the Book of the Dead, the Egyptians described the journey of the soul as a cosmic voyage. The heart was weighed against the feather of truth. If it was pure, the soul would pass through the gates of stars, becoming light itself. If not, it would return to the cycle, to begin again. This was not religion in the modern sense. It was physics disguised as myth, an understanding that consciousness was energy, and energy could not die. Temples, therefore, were not places of worship. They were frequency chambers, spaces designed to elevate the human vibration, preparing the soul for the next world. The secret of the king's chamber. Inside the Great Pyramid, deep within the king's chamber, lies a resonance unlike any other place on earth. When a tone is struck, a voice, a hum, even a single syllable, the granite walls respond. The air vibrates. It is as if the chamber sings back. Acoustic engineers have confirmed that the chamber amplifies specific frequencies, the same frequencies used in meditation and healing. Perhaps the ancients were not worshipping gods. They were communing with vibration itself. The voice of Ra was not a myth, but the sound of the universe resonating through stone. The priests of light. The high priests of Heliopolis were called the Shemsu Hor, the followers of Horus. They were said to possess knowledge handed down from a forgotten age, a science of light and geometry. They believed that enlightenment was literal, that the human body could transform into pure light, a process called the golden body. Their temples were designed not for masses, but for initiates, those who could perceive reality not with the eyes, but with the spirit. Within those walls, geometry was sacred language. Every angle, every corridor, every star alignment encoded steps of transformation. The pyramid was not a tomb, it was a cocoon. The energy of form. Modern physics tells us that shape affects energy. Pyramid structures can preserve food, sharpen blades, even alter electromagnetic fields. Coincidence, perhaps? But the ancients knew this intuitively. They saw the world not as solid, but as frequency, and form was the key to harmony. When the pyramid hums, it hums with the earth. When it stands in silence, it listens. It breathes with the planet, like a tuning fork to the cosmos. And somewhere deep beneath it, perhaps, still rests the secret chamber, the Hall of Records, said to contain the memory of the world before the flood. The forgotten path. Every civilization speaks of a ladder between worlds. In Egypt, it was the Duat. In Mesopotamia, the stairway of Anu. In India, the chakra system. All different names for the same path, the ascent of consciousness. What if the ancients were not primitive dreamers but scientists of the unseen? What if their temples, pyramids, and myths were the remains of a technology that worked not with circuits, but with soul? Maybe the great secret of Egypt was never about death, but about remembering who we truly are. The language of the stars. In the dense jungles of Mesoamerica, stone temples reached toward the sky, not to claim the heavens, but to read them. The Maya were astronomers, mathematicians, and architects all at once. Every pyramid, every observatory, every calendar was designed to map the movements of the sun, the moon, and distant planets. They measured time with precision, predicting eclipses centuries in advance. The stars were not decoration. They were instruction manuals for the soul. The sacred calendar. The Maya calendar is more than dates and festivals. It is a map of cycles, cycles of creation, cycles of consciousness, cycles of destiny. The Tzolk'in, the 260-day calendar, corresponds to human gestation, the cycles of the moon, and the sacred rhythms of nature. It is a reminder that life is a series of harmonic pulses, a dance between the microcosm and the macrocosm. Aztec priests observed the heavens with equal devotion. Their temples were aligned with solstices and equinoxes, ensuring that every ritual occurred in resonance with celestial order. Time was not linear. It was cyclical, a wheel of recurring energies. The Pyramid of the Sun and Moon. At Teotihuacan, the Pyramid of the Sun stands as a testament to cosmic alignment. Archaeologists discovered that the pyramid mirrors the movements of the sun and the stars. Its shadow stretches across the city at key moments, connecting the earth with the heavens. The Pyramid of the Moon complements this, representing the feminine, the moon, and the tides of emotion. Together, they encode the balance of the universe, a duality of light and shadow, matter and spirit. Olmec giants and the voice of Earth. Long before the Maya, the Olmecs sculpted colossal heads from basalt. These were not mere rulers' portraits, they were markers of energy, sentinels aligned with sacred sites and ley lines. Their placement suggests an understanding of the earth as subtle currents, a network of power invisible to the ordinary eye. Stone was alive, and through it, the ancients listened to the heartbeat of the planet. Ritual and consciousness. Mesoamerican rituals often involved music, chant, and movement. Drums echoed the pulse of the cosmos, and smoke carried intention to the sky. Consciousness was malleable. The shamans believed that the mind could ascend, experiencing visions of other worlds. Pyramids were not tombs. They were stages for transformation, amplifying sound, light, and energy. The sky was a mirror. The heavens reflected the human heart, and in turn, the heart shaped the heavens. The codices and the memory of time. Ancient codices preserved knowledge that modern science is only beginning to understand. Glyphs tell of cycles of destruction and rebirth, of the movement of planets, and of energies that link humans to stars. The Maya believed that remembering these cycles was essential to survival, to understanding one's place in the universe. Perhaps the ancients of Mesoamerica were not merely builders and astronomers. They were timekeepers, keeping the rhythm of the planet alive through observation, architecture, and ritual. Echoes of the sky. Walking among the ruins today, the wind seems to whisper in the stones. The pyramids, the plazas, and the ball courts vibrate with history, a resonance that lingers in the air. The Maya, Aztec, and Olmec left a legacy not of conquest, but of insight, a knowledge of the cosmos, of cycles, and of the invisible threads that connect all life. The Sky Watchers remind us that the universe is not distant. It is intimate, interwoven with our bodies, our consciousness, and our dreams. Rivers of life. The Ganges flows not only through India, but through the hearts of its people. To bathe in its waters is to cleanse not only the body, but the soul. Rivers in India are more than geography. They are arteries of spiritual life, carrying memory, energy, and devotion across centuries. The sacred rivers connect human existence to cosmic rhythms, a flowing reminder of impermanence and continuity. Temples as cosmic mirrors. Across the subcontinent, temples rise in intricate patterns aligned with the stars, the solstices, and the cardinal directions. The temples of Khajuraho, Konark, and Chidambaram are not merely places of worship. They are living diagrams of the universe, mapping energy, light, and consciousness into stone. Each carving, each tower, is an invitation to witness the cosmos within and beyond oneself. The dance of Shiva. Shiva, the cosmic dancer, embodies the rhythm of creation and dissolution. In the Nataraja sculpture, his movements mirror the cycles of the universe: birth, life, death, and rebirth. The dance is not mythology alone. It is a symbolic representation of energy and consciousness. Those who understand it see in the dance the heartbeat of existence itself, flowing in endless motion. Meditation and inner rivers. India's sages mapped the inner world as carefully as they mapped rivers and stars. Through meditation, breath, and mantra, they traced energy channels, nadis, and centers of consciousness, chakras. These practices reveal that the body is a temple, the mind a river, and the breath a bridge to the infinite. In stillness, the outer rivers and inner rivers meet, and the current of awareness flows freely. The Vedic wisdom. Ancient texts, the Vedas, encode the knowledge of sound, time, and cosmic order. Ritual chants, mantras, are designed to resonate with the vibrations of the universe. Time was understood as cyclical, with ages of creation and dissolution repeating endlessly. Through these chants, sages aligned human consciousness with the subtle harmonies of existence. Pilgrimage and memory. Pilgrimage in India is both journey and meditation. From the banks of the Ganges to the peaks of the Himalayas, travelers engage with the sacred landscape, seeking purification, insight, and communion. Temples, rivers, and mountains act as memory anchors, reminding each visitor of the interconnection between life, death, and the eternal. Legacy of consciousness. The architecture, rituals, and sacred texts of India carry a subtle message: that the cosmos is not separate from human life, but mirrored within every breath, every movement, every intention. The sacred rivers and temples serve as guides, pathways to understanding not only the external universe, but the depths of the self. In this land, every stone, every river, and every chant is alive with history, wisdom, and the enduring pulse of consciousness. The harmony of heaven and earth. In ancient China, the cosmos was seen as a living, breathing entity. The heavens and the earth were intertwined in endless dance, guiding human life, governance, and spiritual practice. The mandate of heaven, a central principle, reminded rulers that their authority was aligned with cosmic order, not personal will. Every decision, every ritual, was designed to honor the balance between human and divine, between mortal and eternal. Taoism and the Way. Taoism, one of China's oldest philosophical traditions, teaches the subtle art of flowing with life. The Tao, or the Way, is not a path to conquer, but a river to enter with awareness. Through meditation, breathing exercises, and inner alchemy, practitioners seek harmony with natural rhythms, observing the rise and fall of energy within and around them. Mountains, rivers, and forests are more than scenery. They are living temples, mirrors of the Tao itself. The temples and sacred spaces Chinese temples are intricately aligned with both the land and the stars. The Forbidden City, the Temple of Heaven in Beijing, and the ancient observatories reveal meticulous planning that merges architecture with astronomy. Carvings, statues, and altars guide attention toward balance, reflection, and reverence. Walking through these sacred spaces, one can feel the pulse of centuries, the rhythm of dynasties, and the presence of enduring wisdom, astronomy, and the celestial order. Chinese scholars were meticulous observers of the sky. Stars, planets, and comets were recorded with incredible precision, creating calendars that guided agriculture, rituals, and festivals. The constellations were not only practical tools, they were symbols of moral, philosophical, and cosmic principles. To study the heavens was to understand the balance of all things, from human conduct to the flow of rivers and seasons. The art of meditation and breath. Ancient Chinese practices teach that life energy, qi, flows through the body in channels called meridians. Through breathwork, movement, and meditation, one can harmonize internal energy with external forces. This is mirrored in martial arts, calligraphy, and poetry, each an extension of inner cultivation. The body becomes a microcosm of the universe, a living reflection of celestial order. Wisdom across time. The philosophical traditions, temples, and astronomical knowledge of ancient China serve as a bridge between the human and the cosmos. They remind us that life is not merely a sequence of days, but a network of energies, cycles, and interactions. Every sunrise and sunset, every river's curve, and every temple bell resonates with lessons about balance, patience, and awareness. The lifeblood of the Nile. In Egypt, the Nile is more than a river, it is the pulse of life itself. From its annual floods emerged fertile soil, shaping settlements, agriculture, and civilization. Villages turned into cities, and civilization flourished along its winding course, a testament to humanity's ability to adapt to nature's rhythms. The river's gentle flow carried more than water. It carried culture, trade, and spiritual significance across millennia. The mystique of the pyramids. The pyramids, towering monuments of stone, are marvels of precision, patience, and cosmic alignment. Built to honor pharaohs and the journey to the afterlife, their angles, chambers, and inscriptions reflect profound understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and human ingenuity. Standing before them, one feels the weight of eternity and the quiet power of civilizations that measured their lives in lifetimes of stone and ritual. Rituals and the afterlife. Ancient Egyptians saw life and death as part of a continuous cycle. Rituals, ceremonies, and elaborate burials ensured harmony with cosmic forces and divine order. The Book of the Dead guided souls through trials and passages, connecting the mortal world to the eternal. Temples echoed with chants and incense, a bridge between humans and gods, a reminder of life's sacredness and mystery. Hieroglyphs, stories carved in time. Hieroglyphs, meticulously carved symbols, preserve knowledge, history, and belief. They are more than writing. They are art, magic, and memory encoded in stone. Through these symbols, we glimpse the daily lives of pharaohs and farmers, the ebb and flow of God's favor, and the philosophical reflections of a civilization in dialogue with eternity. The cosmos and the pharaoh's stars guided the architecture, rituals, and calendars of Egypt. The orientation of pyramids, temples, and tombs mirrors celestial patterns, linking the earthly and the divine. The heavens served as both compass and canvas, mapping the journey of the sun god Ra and the soul's voyage in the afterlife. In every alignment, there is a lesson. The universe is a grand, interwoven tapestry, and humans are threads within it. Life, legacy, and reflection. Egypt teaches the delicate balance between human endeavor and cosmic rhythm. Through rivers, monuments, rituals, and symbols, the ancients remind us that life is both fleeting and eternal, personal and universal. To observe, reflect, and harmonize with these cycles is to touch a deeper current flowing through time, whispering of patience, reverence, and the wonder of existence. The birthplace of thought. Ancient Greece gave the world a new way to think: inquiry, reason, and debate. In the sun-drenched agora of Athens, philosophers questioned existence, ethics, and the cosmos. Socrates' relentless questioning, Plato's ideal forms, and Aristotle's systematic observations formed the foundation of Western thought. Their ideas were not just intellectual exercises, they were invitations to examine life itself, to explore the human mind and spirit. Myth and meaning. Greek myths are not mere stories. They are mirrors of human emotion and morality. Gods and heroes embody virtues, flaws, and the eternal struggle between fate and free will. From the wrath of Zeus to the cleverness of Athena, these tales traverse love, ambition, courage, and tragedy. The myths remind us that human nature, despite centuries of change, remains constant, seeking meaning, honor, and connection. The theater, drama of life. Theaters of stone, carved into hillsides, were more than performance spaces. They were stages of reflection. Tragedies and comedies explored the human condition, societal norms, and divine influence. Actors, masks, and choruses transformed stories into living rituals, engaging audiences in moral contemplation and emotional catharsis. Through theater, the ephemeral moments of life were elevated into lessons for eternity. Art, architecture, and legacy. Columns, temples, and sculptures reveal Greece's dedication to harmony, proportion, and beauty. The Parthenon, statues of gods and athletes, and intricate pottery reflect both skill and philosophical vision. Art was a language of ideals, a celebration of human achievement in balance with nature and cosmos. Even centuries later, these creations inspire awe, reminding us of the enduring pursuit of excellence. Wisdom in daily life philosophy was not confined to academies. It shaped politics, education, and daily living. Dialogue, civic engagement, and contemplation were tools to live virtuously. The Greek ethos encourages reflection, to examine life, to act justly, and to seek knowledge with courage and humility. In this pursuit, one finds timeless guidance for navigating the complexity of human existence. Reflection and continuity. Ancient Greece teaches that intellect, myth, and art are intertwined pathways to understanding life. Its legacies, reason, ethics, theater, and aesthetics, continue to echo across centuries. To witness their achievements is to engage with questions that remain vital today. Who are we? Why do we act? How do we live meaningfully? The engine of an empire, Rome, was more than a city. It was a living network of power, trade, and ideas. Its roads stretched thousands of miles, connecting distant provinces, enabling armies, merchants, and messengers to traverse the empire with unprecedented speed. Granite and cobblestone carried not only goods but also culture, law, and innovation. Through these arteries, the pulse of Rome reached every corner of the known world, creating unity across diversity. Urban life and architecture. Roman cities were vibrant mosaics of public spaces, temples, baths, and markets. Forums bustled with debate, commerce, and spectacle. Aqueducts carried water to fountains and baths, a marvel of engineering that defined urban sophistication. The Colosseum and theaters showcased entertainment intertwined with social order, where gladiators, actors, and citizens shared moments of collective experience. Every building, arch, and pavement reflected both practicality and grandeur, blending form and function seamlessly. Daily routines and society Romans rose with the sun, balancing work, leisure, and ritual. Artisans and traders filled streets with color and sound. Senators and philosophers shaped governance and thought. Meals ranged from simple bread and olives to lavish banquets accompanied by music and conversation. Family, religion, and civic duty intertwined, grounding individuals within a structured yet dynamic society. Innovation and engineering. Roman ingenuity transformed everyday life. Roads, bridges, and aqueducts were not mere constructions. They were symbols of mastery over nature and organization. Concrete and arches enabled buildings to reach new heights. Plumbing and heating systems brought comfort to many homes. Military engineering secured borders, while infrastructure supported trade, communication and cultural exchange. Innovation was a practical art, serving citizens and empire alike. The rhythm of festivals and beliefs religion was woven into every facet of life. Temples and shrines honored gods and ancestors, while festivals brought communities together in celebration. Public games, sacrifices, and rituals provided structure, joy, and reflection. These traditions nurtured identity, unity, and continuity, linking the living to the divine and to the past. Enduring legacy. Rome's influence survives in law, language, architecture, and urban planning. Its roads, ideas, and institutions shaped civilizations that followed. To walk through Roman history is to witness ambition, creativity, and resilience, lessons echoing across centuries. The empire's story reminds us that the organization of space, society, and thought can define the possibilities of human life, medieval cities, and street life. As the sun rises over the cobblestone streets, the medieval city awakens with the rhythm of daily life. Merchants pull open wooden shutters, revealing stalls filled with fresh bread, fragrant herbs, and colorful textiles. The clatter of horseshoes on stone echoes alongside the distant toll of church bells, marking the passage of time in a world without clocks. Children chase one another through narrow alleys, their laughter blending with the calls of vendors. Blacksmiths hammer at glowing iron, forging tools and weapons that will shape the lives of the town's inhabitants. Smoke rises from chimneys, carrying the scent of hearth fires and cooking stews. Every street corner tells a story of trade, of gossip, of survival. Towns were fortified, often encircled by high walls, protecting their inhabitants from both invaders and roaming wild animals. Life was unpredictable, harsh, and yet deeply communal, as neighbors relied on one another for support and protection. Even as darkness fell, the city did not sleep entirely. Lanterns flickered in windows, illuminating the paths of watchmen patrolling the gates. The night air carried whispers of taverns and the quiet hum of those who could not rest, always moving, always vigilant. The medieval city was more than a collection of buildings. It was a living, breathing organism, a reflection of humanity's resilience and creativity amid uncertainty. Every stone, every archway, every bustling market lane spoke of lives interwoven across generations, of hopes and fears, and the timeless rhythm of human existence. Renaissance and urban transformation. The dawn of the Renaissance breathed new life into the cities of Europe. Streets once narrow and shadowed began to widen, adorned with newly constructed squares and fountains. Artisans, painters, and architects brought color and form to stone and brick, transforming the urban landscape into a canvas of creativity. Markets became centers not only of trade, but of ideas. Philosophers debated in courtyards while musicians played in open squares, their melodies blending with the hum of daily commerce. The scent of fresh paint, newly hewn timber, and spices from distant lands filled the air, creating a tapestry of sensory experience. City walls were expanded, towers rose higher, and bridges spanned rivers that connected distant neighborhoods. Streets now carried the names of guilds, saints, and merchants, immortalizing the people who shaped them. The rhythm of life pulsed through every corner, every stair, every hidden alleyway. Evenings brought a gentle calm. Candlelight flickered in windows, reflecting off polished stone, while the laughter of children and the distant chatter of taverns reminded all that life persisted, ever dynamic and resilient. The Renaissance city was a bridge between past and future, a living testament to human ingenuity and the enduring spirit of urban life. Industrial awakening. The hum of machines began to echo across the cities, replacing the soft clatter of horse hooves on cobblestones. Smoke rose from tall chimneys, heralding a new age of industry. Factories were the heartbeats of urban transformation, drawing laborers from villages into bustling centers of production. Streets became arteries of commerce, carrying goods, ideas, and the scent of coal and iron. Despite the harshness of labor, creativity found a new outlet. Engineers designed bridges, railways, and factories that became symbols of progress. Night brought a subtle lull, with lamps casting long shadows on cobblestones, reminding the city dwellers of the fragile balance between human ambition and nature. The Age of Exploration in Cities. As oceans opened, so did the minds of the urban populace. Merchants returned with spices, textiles, and treasures from distant lands. Urban marketplaces transformed into hubs of curiosity, where maps, exotic fabrics, and strange artifacts drew the attention of both scholars and children. Architecture borrowed motifs from faraway continents, blending styles to create a cosmopolitan aesthetic. The city became a reflection of the wider world, each street a corridor to distant cultures and ideas. Daylight carried commerce and conversation. Nightfall offered reflection and the quiet thrill of imagination. Enlightenment and public spaces intellectuals and thinkers gathered in squares and gardens, debating philosophies that promised liberty, equality, and reason. Libraries opened their doors to eager minds, while statues and fountains celebrated civic pride. Urban streets became stages for dialogue, with cafes serving as meeting points for ideas and discussion. Gas lamps began to illuminate streets, allowing contemplation to extend into the evening hours. Music, literature, and art interwove with the pulse of daily life, reminding citizens that progress was both a journey and a dialogue. The rise of transportation. Horse-drawn carriages gave way to trams and, eventually, the first automobiles. Streets shifted to accommodate new rhythms. Cobblestones smoothed, avenues widened, and bridges strengthened. Railways connected urban centers, bringing the countryside closer to the city and commerce faster to distant markets. Life in the city was in motion, constantly changing, yet retaining pockets of stillness. Quiet gardens, hidden courtyards, and intimate alleyways where history lingered softly. The hum of engines and the chatter of people blended into an urban symphony. The modern metropolis steel and glass rose skyward, casting reflections that captured both sun and human ambition. Skyscrapers created a new horizon, and the cityscape became a vertical ecosystem of offices, homes, and observation decks. Parks and boulevards offered respite from the intensity, while cafes and markets remained centers of human connection. Nighttime brought neon lights and the rhythm of nightlife. Yet beneath it, the city breathed steadily, its foundations rooted in centuries of history. Cultural tapestries cities became canvases of diversity. Immigrants brought languages, cuisines, and traditions, weaving them into the urban fabric. Festivals filled the streets with color and sound. Murals celebrated stories both ancient and new. The urban experience became a living anthology, with each neighborhood telling a unique tale. Music, art, and theater became accessible to many, not only the elite, turning streets into stages and cities into cultural landscapes. Science and innovation laboratories, observatories, and universities sprouted in city centers, bringing a new focus on discovery. The hum of research mixed with the city's natural rhythm. Streets and buildings reflected architectural innovations, blending functionality with aesthetic vision. Public exhibitions showcased inventions, from early telegraphs to mechanized vehicles, thrilling the city's residents. Knowledge traveled alongside commerce, and the city became a hub of both intellect and imagination. Urban challenges. With growth came complexity. Overcrowded streets, pollution, and social stratification posed new dilemmas. City planners responded with parks, sanitation projects, and organized public transport. Awareness of civic responsibility grew, and citizens began to participate actively in shaping their surroundings. Even amid challenges, resilience prevailed. Neighborhoods adapted, communities organized, and culture persisted. The city was not merely a collection of structures but a dynamic organism, evolving with every challenge it faced. The 20th century metamorphosis wars, revolutions, and technological leaps reshaped urban landscapes. Bombed streets were rebuilt, old neighborhoods revitalized, and public monuments commemorated shared history. Radio, cinema, and television introduced new dimensions to urban life, connecting people beyond streets and squares. Electricity transformed evenings into vibrant times, with illuminated avenues and theaters offering both wonder and entertainment. The city, ever-changing, adapted to the pressures of modernity without losing its soul. Global cities and connectivity. Air travel, telecommunication, and international trade turned cities into interconnected networks. Urban centers became nodes in a global tapestry, influencing culture, politics, and economy far beyond their borders. Skyscrapers reached for the clouds while digital signals carried ideas across continents. Despite the scale, human experience remained central. Markets, schools, and streets preserved intimacy amid vast networks of commerce and communication. Sustainability and urban renewal. In response to environmental concerns, cities embraced green spaces, renewable energy, and public transport. Rooftop gardens, solar panels, and pedestrian boulevards reshaped urban life. Communities engaged in sustainable practices, merging technology with nature to create harmony. Even amid modernization, the rhythm of human life persisted. Morning markets, evening strolls, and the soft glow of street lamps at night maintained continuity and a sense of place. Reflections on urban continuity. The city, from its earliest alleys to modern avenues, tells a story of humanity's creativity, resilience, and ambition. Each building, street, and square reflects centuries of transformation. Night falls, and the hum of urban life softens. Windows glow, fountains ripple, and the distant echo of music reminds observers that cities are living chronicles. In their structure and spirit, they capture the enduring interplay of people, culture, and history, a narrative that continues even as we watch and listen, quietly immersed in their rhythm.